Just shushed me.
You gotta compose yourself. Compose yourself.
Hi. Welcome to another Temple Talk, the Sunday sermon you always wished you had. Edmundo and I are here to share with you the magic and power of the ancient temple arts today.
Yeah.
Hi, Joey. See him jumping on. Hold on, I feel like this is a beat of it.
We're gonna I think before we get started, I want to kind of maybe go back a little bit and share a little bit about our experience and how we've gotten here today, talking about temple arts and what temple arts are. We'll discuss that here a little bit. But as we get going, I started thinking about our journey and how we got here. I want to say that one of the biggest gifts that Kara and I have given each other is this being in a place of exploration. I feel like since we met, we've always been there, right? Always exploring, just like together as individuals, as like, and making sense of the world, right? And we've been in that exploration, what's led us to this exploration has been like our desires, our ego, our pleasure, other people, and back then it was, just friends and the experiences that we were having. Now is our clients that hold such a mirror for us and guide us, into this exploration that I speak of, right? And this exploration is like, where do we want to go next? What's in front of us? What do we need to explore? How do we make sense of the world, right? How do we want to live, right? And again, like it's still like today, this is like 19 years later. We've been together for 19 years. That's still very present. We're in a constant state of exploration. How do we want to live? How do we want to feel? What is being asked of us, right? And so as we've been doing this, this work, it's been evolving, right? And it keeps evolving, we keep growing, we keep expanding, but because we're constantly seeing what's in front of us. Lately, the topic of conversation has been the temple arts. And it's something that we both feel like we've been doing this work for a minute now, but now more than ever, it feels like this is where we're heading, more into the temple arts. And we'll describe, we'll go more in detail what that is, what the temple arts are. But this is where we find ourselves in this moment, exploring what the next phase of our business is, the next phase of our work, our even our dynamic as a couple, and it looks nice. We always know that that's the next evolution, the next thing to follow, because it's exciting. It's there's a little bit of fear, there's a little bit of not say anxiety, but like just excitement,
Excitement.
and there's a little bit of like, ooh, this is gonna be pretty cool, and then all of the things start coming up, which we know that we're on the right track.
Yeah, I think like as you're speaking, I'm just like, oh, like just like a few weeks ago we talked about like, I'm kind of bored, like what's our next edge, right? And so we found it. We found our edge. It's been being shown to us for a minute, but like we also had to be developed and prepared and ready to say yes and step into the next evolution of our work. And I think you kind of mentioned that, right? Like our work is evolving, our business is evolving, our family is evolving, our relationship is evolving, our clients are evolving, our whole entire body of work is evolving.
And I think the biggest piece, is that again, we've been doing this kind of work, but it's been a little more like behind the scenes. It hasn't been so face forward,
forward
facing. And there's just been a lot, but like right now in this moment, it feels like it needs our attention.
Yes.
Like it needs to be, talked about.
Yes.
It needs to be
brought to the light.
Yeah. If you will, right? So this is so the edge is not so much that we're going to be doing this kind of work. The edge is that we're going to be sharing it more openly, that we're going to be more visible in it, that maybe our marketing is going to change, that we're going to be attracting a different kind of client, that we're going to be inviting our current clients into this evolution
to the deeper space
of us, right? And we understand that some of them might not come with us. Some of you guys are been waiting for us, but that's all things that bring up shit for us, like the fear of losing clients, the fear of being judged, the fear of not getting it quote unquote right, and so that is the edge. The edge is not so much that we're going to be doing this new body of work. The edge is that we're going to be more open.
I mean, that's actually been what's so cool is that we've been doing the Temple Arts for a very long time, and even our mystery school, we've declared hey, this is what we're here to do and teach, right? We've built a underground temple in our yard, so of course this is the work that we do. But we also are getting much more clear on what the path has been for us and what the path looks like for our clients. So how we work and part of what we do, and so I feel definitely an aspect of the Temple Arts is, and it's one of the foundations of our Sacred Well Society is the Ouroboros way. And I feel called to just bring this in because it's it's also been guiding us this year to really deepen into its teachings, which are an aspect of the Temple Arts and the death and rebirth process. And it's we would even go as far as say to sex, death, and rebirth process. Because sex creates life, and then there's the death, and then there's a rebirth, and the cycle continues on and on and on, right? Which is the ancient wisdom of the Ouroboros. But to actually live that, right, and to experience that inside of the temple is a huge component of what we do. And I know, hang on here, I'm getting there. I know you're where are you going with this? I can literally feel you.
No, I trust your process.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, you're doing great. We'll get back to back on topic. Just joking.
This is the topic. Trust me. This is guiding us. This is the process. I can literally. I know this man so clearly. Of he's where are you going? You need to come back on topic.
Listen, I've been here many times. I know how you do it. We're good, okay? You keep going.
I can hear your thoughts in my head. Hi, Amy. Good morning. So I feel we're gonna circle back to this later. At some point, it's gonna be understood more fully, but feeling called to just bring that aspect of it in. Because this is very ancient medicine that we work with in the temple. And, as we're getting more clear on our path and what it's been for us and what our clients are navigating and walking, we've had to break it all down and look at what were the components of it. We realized, and Edmundo said this to me the other day, he said, just right now we have to dissolve everything in our business as we have known it to be. And he, just take it all down to nothing, and then kind of let the pieces all come back, right? And show us where they're all meant to be on the path.
Well, and the reason why I said that, I'll interrupt you, but the reason why I said that is because I don't want to be restricted in any kind of way as we birth this new this new body of work, right? Yeah. And so I'm we have to dissolve everything as to not try to hold on to certain pieces and try to force them into this work that we're not doing, because it feels, and that is different. Yeah. That is it's inviting us into a very different kind of vibe, energy.
It's a vastness to it. I don't know, that's what I'm feeling. Yeah. There's this a greater breadth and depth to all of it. And it's exciting, like you said, and it's edgy and it's taboo and it's exciting. and it's a little scary, but it's like right where we love to be, and it just feels expansive. Like
And it
that's
feels like, a line, and it feels like it's been a natural evolution,
mm-hmm.
right? Like, again, we're not here because we decided that we were going to do this. We're here because we were led here.
Yes.
You
Okay,
know?
that's where I was going with the Ouroboros thing.
Okay.
Okay. Is that it has been initiating us into it, is like as we navigate our own like sex, death, and rebirth processes, it has called us into this, and we've become, as ChatGPT keeps calling it, we've become the living transmission of our work. And so this is where we find ourselves right now, and this is why we bring these topics to you today, because of the profound magic and power that it has, that the temple arts have been and shown us. And now it's like, okay, we're ready to really, we've integrated it, we've experienced it, we've lived it, we've embodied it, and now we're ready to, like you said, bring it forward facing in such a bigger way. And that's exciting, and we're ready to like invite you all, like we were just like, okay, let us take a few people through this, and like let's get really masterful, let's really understand what we're doing here, and like what's being asked of us, and what this journey is about, what this path asks of us and will ask of you, and how it's navigated. And now we're able, like as we've dissolved everything that we've created for our business, and we're being shown all of these, like, oh, we already have all the pieces, oh, we know the path. And so now it's like everything is starting to like reform, come back into a new alignment, into a new structure and path, so that we can guide you all down it. And we're really, really excited, because it is, like you said, all leading to the temple arts. That's what our mystery school is about.
I want to talk a little bit more about the evolution.
Yeah.
I think there's a piece that I think is important to talk about. And I know I talk about how we've been being led to this point, and it's been a natural evolution, being in exploration and being led by our desires, all those things. But there's also one thing that has to happen, it had to happen for us, and I've noticed that it happens also with our clients, right? That there's a dismantling that has to happen before you can fully understand what the temple arts are. And I think that's why it follows this like path, right? Because we are very conditioned into what sexuality is, what the difference between the feminine and masculine is, what pleasure is, what our body carries, the shame, or also the wisdom, right? And so there's a dismantling that has to happen, a reprogramming, to fully understand what like temple arts are, right? To fully receive its medicine. And I think that's why we follow this path that we follow, and I see with other clients, is that it's not for everybody, right? It's not like something that you can actually even describe to somebody and say, oh, okay, well, this is because we could distort it, or we just can't understand it yet, So there is a foundation that has to happen before you can really grasp the power of the temple arts, right? Like the temple arts is about empowerment, is individual empowerment, is to set yourself free from the conditioning, from the shame, from the guilt, from the trauma that you carry, right? And it's through the body. And I think in a society, we're very accustomed to just going through the mind, right? Making sense through the mind, and the temple arts, which, again, I'll say, like, some of you guys are familiar with Tantra, and Tantra is one of the, temple arts, again, what really addresses the body. It is a lot of teachings, it's a lot of making sense of it, it's a lot of deconstructing, but it's also a path through the body. And I think that it makes, like I said, we've been doing this kind of work, but now it's like, okay, we see the importance of the work that we're doing and how there's a need. And again, this is not like we decided, but this is what is being mirrored to us, right? Our clients want this. They a lot of the clients that come to us, they've done a lot of work. They've worked with psychiatrists, they've done plant medicine, they've done a lot of programming, but the work that they come to us for is embodiment, right? This journey through the body, like to bring whatever you've learned and whatever is up here and really drop it into the body, right? So it becomes embodied. And so I think, like, again, we've been doing this, but now it's like become very clear that that's what we do here. This is the journey that we take people on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Did you have more?
No, I was gonna say, are we ready to talk about, you know, what the temple arts are?
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to do.
Go ahead. I feel like we've been teasing you guys. You're like, temple arts. And some of you guys probably like, what is the freaking temple arts then?
Yeah. Well, I mean, ultimately, there's many steps to the temple arts, like many different phases or levels, if you will. And for me, the temple arts is like walking the Grail path, like back home to your innate sovereignty, to the remembrance that you are the Holy Grail, that everything you desire is yours because you are everything you desire. And that at the highest level of this vision, there is an integration of at the highest level of this path, there is the reintegration of your masculine and feminine, where you enter into inner divine union. And there's many ways that can look, right? Masculine, feminine. Also you've reintegrated your humanness and your divinity, and you've just like remembered all of who you are. There's so many aspects, right? Like you've reintegrated the dark and the light, and you've become whole again. You remembered that you were always whole, but you've reintegrated all of those rejected, lost, exiled parts and aspects of self back into one. And so this is, for me, the Grail path, the temple arts. The temple arts are the journey and process back home to receiving yourself as the Holy Grail. So that's like the higher like level vision of it, and intention and purpose of like why we are called to walk this specific path and to step into temple space. It's because we desire to remember who we are, to remember that we are godly and God is within us, or goddess, and that we are powerful, that we are pure, that we are love, right? That we are unconditional love, that we are Sophia Christ consciousness, like incarnate.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so there's that, like, again, this like embodiment component. And it's so, you know, as you were kind of talking earlier, right? It's like the first, it kind of begins with like this like sacred sexuality awakening and like remembrance of that sex is also sacred. Our sexuality is sacred. Our pleasure is sacred. Our bodies, our vessel is sacred. And merging the energetics, the frequency of divinity within our eros, and merging that with the body. And so we do this through various different sessions, practices, experiences within the temple, aka the temple arts. And there's many different arts, many different ways that it can look.
Yeah, you know, as you're speaking, I'm like, yeah, this is a reclamation,
yes,
of your body, of your sexuality, of your pleasure, of your desires, of your uniqueness, of your own unique path, right? This is a reclamation where you shed everything that you've been told, all the programming through religion, through government, through schooling, through parents, everything, right? This is where, again, like, you dissolve everything you are, and so you can reclaim all the parts that you rejected, that live in the shadow, that, you know, where you've, how do you say that, compartmentalized?
Yeah.
How do you say it?
Compartmentalized.
Yeah, I can't speak my accent. And so you can become whole again. for that wholeness, right? And again, like this is a path through the body, right? There's so much memory that lives in the body. There's so much shame that we carry in the body. There's so many parts of us that we've rejected through the body, and the body also has memory, right? And the body also wants to communicate things to you, right? And so this is like Carol said, the different modalities, the different practices, we tap into the body. What was to again release whatever's there, or to integrate whatever needs to be integrated for the purpose of wholeness. And a huge part of this is that we were having actually a conversation about last night, is that the integration of the energy, the integration of your arrows, the integration of your kundalini, your integration of your life force energy with the body, that they are not separate, right? and when they come together, you become whole again.
Yes, and I'm having a whole moment right now based on that conversation. So we had dinner with some friends last night, Kingston and Crystal Arthur, and we were talking about this right as they were getting ready to leave last night, and about the energetics and the body, and then the embodiment and the integration of both of those as they become one. And that journey and that process, right? As you were talking, I was like, oh, of course, because I'm the energetics and you're the body. And so of course, like, we have come together to teach these, and then like we've shared our codes with each other, right? So like, I brought you the energetic piece, you bring me the body piece. And then,
what she means by that is that Kara works very energetically, and I work very through the body. Right. And yes, we definitely have been able to merge both of them.
Yes. I hadn't seen, so as we were like breaking down, the Grail path, as we've been, reconfiguring a lot of different things and what's been coming through and how that wants to express and look and have it come to form as far as our teachings go, and, initiatory path. There was this clear definement at dinner last night of like, the energetics comes in, and then you have to do the work with the body, and then you bring them to the both of them together. And as we were sitting here and I'm like looking at us, on camera, I'm like, oh, that's right. Because we always say this. We always say, I work very energetically and Edmundo works very much through the body. And that's our like primary, gifts of how we work and walk this path. But we've also had to do both, right? And we also do both. And we're deepening into that, I think, even more fully.
Yeah.
Just interesting. I love it. Aha moment.
I'd like to share a little bit about what that looks like. I think like we're kind of maybe going around a little bit, tiptoeing around it. But so I do work with women, right? And I got into this work because I realized that there's a lot that has been taken from the feminine, right? Even like I not too long ago I learned that things shifted when a man realized that it was his sperm that inseminated the egg, right? And it changed everything, right? Because before that, it was like we didn't understand, right? So it was sovereignty of the feminine, it was sovereignty of the man. But when the man learned, that it was his sperm that actually fertilized the egg, it became like, oh shit, it's me then. Like, that's my egg, that's my baby, and she's my property, And it shifted the relationship between the feminine and the masculine, right? And this is something that we, through history, men have done, right?
Well, men, it shifted between men and women. Yeah. The energetics are always there. The
dynamic shifted.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dynamic shifted, right? Because again, before it was like, you're sovereign, I'm sovereign, you're there, I'm here, and now it's like, no, you belong to me, you're my property, and now you say as I say, right? And it really shifted that dynamic between the feminine and the masculine. And it is my purpose, my goal to restore that, right? And how do you do that? By giving her that power back, right? And I know that of all the work that I do, there's a huge safety component, right? That women don't feel safe in their bodies, that women don't feel safe with men, you know, and again, there's the history goes deep, right? And for me, is to restore that safety, you know. And how do I do that, right? You know, I think like all women can relate to this, and probably men too. It's like, you know, when women have been seen with like dirty eyes, where you felt like, you know, violated, or you were touched, you know, inappropriately, you know, without consent, where that also left an imprint in you, right? And so I get that there's that, but then on the other hand, there's the opposite of that. When you've been seen with love, or with reverence, or you've been touched with consent, or you've been touched with love, or, you know, or you've been a man has infused love into your body, you know, that feels different, right? It creates a new blueprint on how you know, navigate this world, right? And a big part of my mission is to restore that safety in women, you know. And a lot of times in my sessions, you know, that just boils down to just holding a woman without any ask, right? To be in service to the feminine, which a lot of the women haven't felt that before. You know, they haven't felt that man that held them without having an ask, right? Or just with uh, being nurturing, or being loving, or kind, or whatever, and not expect any of them, you know. And that in itself can be extremely healing. And maybe the women that I work with, they can't fully rationalize it, but the body feels it. You know, many of times in my sessions, I feel that letdown. You know, they're like, ugh, and then it's like, ah, you know. And then, you know, a lot of the feedback is like, I've never felt so safe. You know, wow, I didn't realize I could feel that safe, right? Again and again, this is us just working through the body, because I could sit there for hours and say, you're safe, you feel safe, you're safe, you know, you're safe. You know, the world's different now, it's safe, you know, I'm a safe person. And to a point, maybe they can believe it, but whenever we go through the body and they actually feel, you know, the touch of somebody that doesn't have an ass, or the touch that is actually comes from a loving place, or even to be seen, you know, with loving eyes, you know, it's extremely healing, right? And that is something that, you know, I do my sessions as to help women integrate that level of safety into the body. And again, you know, I understand that, you know, this could be very much like distorted, you know, because it's not part of our culture, right? For me to even say this, I understand that that could be like, that doesn't happen. There must be an alternative motive, or, you know, I don't know, like what else happens in the sessions, you know, whatever. You know, it can be very short, because we can only see it from the lens of, you know, sex, or, you know, pornography, or, you know, I don't know, perversion, or whatever, right? It's not something that, you know, as a society, we're open here talking about this. You know, we just don't. You know, and I think like this is the reason why we're moving more into that direction, to change that. You know, to make these conversations, you know, normal. You know, another thing too, that a lot of the work that I do, you know, is I speak about boundaries with women. Right, I really go into depth about boundaries, you know, not because things are going to happen or should happen, because I want them to get comfortable with their boundaries. You know, I'll ask them, is it okay if I place my hand on your back? You know, and I want you to really drop into that, you know, to really say, what is your body saying? Is your body saying yes? Is your body saying no? Is your body saying a maybe, right? And you get to, in this safe space, you get to say no, or you get to say yes. And I would honor no matter what. And I not only will honor it, but I'll thank you for it, right? That way, again, to create this new plan of a safe for me to exercise my sacred yeses, my sacred nos. For me to have strong boundaries, and for somebody else to honor those boundaries, right? Because a lot of the times we don't even know that we have saying. Nobody, even our parents, right, didn't ask us, hey, is it okay if I hold you in this way? Is it okay if I talk to you in this way? If, you know, how does this make you feel? You know, we just navigate life, and we take all these hits, right? Like, ooh, that didn't feel good. Ooh, that didn't feel right. Oh my God, that was a horrible experience. But not understanding, like, what was at play, right? And then when we become aware of it, we create new boundaries for ourselves. Okay, I'm not going to participate in that. You won't speak to me in that way. I would not, you know, participate or in this dynamic of our relationship, or I won't dance with you in this way, right? Like I have a say in the matter, and if you don't treat me this way, if you don't respect me in this way, if you don't revere me in this way, then I cannot be in a relationship with you, right? A lot of us don't even know that that's an option, right? We just play shit out and then feel, violated, feel burdened, feel taken from, not knowing how much power we have, whenever we embody those boundaries, where people won't even fuck with us, right? Because I understand that it's a different level of consciousness, a level of awareness that you possess whenever you become the embodiment of those boundaries, of the understanding of when I say no, it's a no. When I say yes, it's a yes, right? And so this is again, this is part of the temple arts, right? To go into the body. What is the body trying to tell you? How does the body want to feel? To start really trusting that intuition, that gut feeling, like really trusting that and being led by that, right? Not to dismiss it, but to really listen to it. And there's many practices that we utilize to restore that trust, to restore that guidance, to restore that, sovereignty that lives within your body. Because again, your body's constantly communicating with you. But when you're disconnected from that, you bypass that, right? And then you find yourself being like, fuck, man, I didn't want to do that. Why did I do that? Oh my God, that didn't feel good, but I keep doing it, And so this is why I feel like Kara and I are such a passionate and firm believers that this works. We both have experienced it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm just having so many. I'm almost in my own little world over here listening to you, because I'm like, oh, and this and and connections and this and that, and just so many things are dropping in right now. We've been birthing so much, and so many pieces are just connecting right now in ways that we hadn't fully seen previously. So hold on, I'm gonna try to step back in over here. The first thing that comes to mind, when you speak about the safety of the body, is going back to Sedona, which was just about 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago, actually. And that was a huge component. I feel like that was a massive entry point for us into the temple arts. That was big. For me it was, because I was able to release so much sexual trauma, not just even from my own body, but from my lineage, cleared the line, so much. It was so deep, and I was like, whoa. It was the first time I ever felt free to speak about my sexuality online, and that's really when I was like, oh, I can do this now. I can say this because I'm safe, and I understood why so many things had happened to me previously throughout my life, and why I was so activating, and it's because my sexual energy was so intense, and I just didn't know that about myself. I thought everybody experienced what I experienced, and I come to find out that they weren't experiencing. Everyone was not experiencing what I was experiencing. But that was a massive healing of that shame, and just so much safety, and just so many different layers and components. There's just way too many to talk about. But the year prior to that, my Kundalini had awakened, right? So that's the energetic aspect of it. Then we came to Sedona, and I really cleared a lot of that fear out of my body, and I returned my body back to safety. Then the following year, Edmundo built the Temescal, and then which is the womb of the mother, and the primordial mother came and spoke to me. And then right after that, and she told me, everything you desire is yours. And I was like, I don't understand what any of this means. And she just said, you'll be shown. Then a week or so later, I was doing a meditation, and this black snake came to me and was like, let me in. And I was like, ooh, I don't know, this is scary. And it told me that its name was Eros. I didn't even know what that meant. I had to go and Google and look these things up. I just didn't know. And I was like, oh, I don't know about this. Like, are you safe? And it was like, I'm here to assist the primordial mother. And I was like, okay, fine, fuck it, come on in, you know? And so then this like whole other unlayering happened. So as we continue to navigate our journey, you know, and we've worked for years and years and years, we've had so many clients awaken their Kundalini in working with us. And um, and then we have to like navigate, you know, regulating that. And that's a whole journey and process in and of itself. And then bringing it to the body, right? Which has been like where we have done this so much in our own practices, in our own, you know, sacred sexual union, and through our own erotic alchemy practices, which we've been, you know, slowly working on bringing to the public to share more of like, but it's like understanding, okay, the frequency of this, okay, how do we bring them into the frequency of this energy of the sacredness? And this is where, you know, my piece has been guided, and this is the piece that I can speak to the most masterfully, is like the return to sacredness that has had to happen. And as you're talking about all of the things that you do in your sessions, it's like you're speaking about the voice and the boundaries, right? And then there's a de-armoring of the heart, right? And if you followed my journey or not, like you can, I speak of this often, right? Because the de-armoring of the heart. Then there's this like receiving of your womb power, right? Which in Dragoness, the whole year-long experience is about returning to the sacredness, or returning to the sovereignty of your holy erotic power, which is your womb power, your dragon power. The dragon is representative of the womb power. Okay, so I'm just trying to like connect all the dots here for everyone. Then we also work with, so the womb, and then we also work with the yoni. And this is like, there's this aspect of, as we return all of these to sacredness, it's restoring your original innocence, right? Because as you mentioned, women live with so much fear in their bodies because of all of the times we were violated and where we were trained that we were just to allow people to violate us. Like we didn't actually, we felt like as though we didn't have a say, or we didn't want to ruffle feathers, or we didn't want to hurt someone's feelings. We were taught to be the pleaser, the good girl, right? And even if you were rebellious in nature, there were still those programmings there, and they still live within us. And so restoring our yonis back to original innocence is this beautiful sacred process that Edmundo and I have done in the bedroom. And it was just, again, it was all intuitively guided and led. And then we later learned, oh, this is actually a process. Oh, this is actually a path. Like this is actually what happens for women who are choosing to walk this path and receive this type of healing and receive their wholeness and experience, and who are here to experience divine union, and who are here to lead others into this consciousness, because it takes you to a whole new realm of consciousness as you do these, as you experience the temple arts in this way. And it's the most profound, beautiful, like you said. I remember the first time Edmundo touched me, and he did not have an ask of me. I remember it, and I cried, and I told him like, oh wow, I just need to like reflect to you how that felt for me. And I have never experienced that before. And I was like, other women must experience this. They need this. This is so deeply, deeply healing. And there's been just so many different things like, you know, like yoni gazing, or yeah, just like even that like touch, feeling that touch and that safety, but like the man does not want anything from you. You know, we Edmundo practiced like yoni massage on me, you know, and I just remember it like helping me clear and release so much shame, like so much shame, and just having things happen in my body that I was like, what is even going on? I've never experienced this before. And just emotions would come up, and tears, and I would cry, and I was just having these emotional releases from, as he worked on me. His unconditional love brought healing to the shame that I stored in my body, in my womb, in my yoni, and in various different parts of my body. And it's the most healing and beautiful experience as a woman who has experienced violation that you could ever have. And I wanted that for more women.
I made a post a few months ago about something I can't remember what I titled it, but I said this is for men. I said if I'm gonna ever give you some advice, this is the best piece of advice I'm ever gonna give you, right? And it was to remove yourself from the equation, right? As a man, when being with a woman, to remove yourself from the equation. And I remember when I first went down the rabbit hole of Tantra. This is many years. This is actually before Sedona. That I was already intrigued by Tantra and learning everything about Tantra, and I started practicing on Kara. One of the things that was the most important part of it all is that I had to remove myself from the equation. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is that by me removing my desires, my wants, my ask, my distortion, whatever, is that I could be fully present to Kara and to what her body was communicating to me, what her breath was communicating to me, what her tears was communicating to me, right? To become so in tune that I could read her, that I can guide her, that I can give her what she wanted, right? And even in that, back then, many years now ago, it was like, when I practiced on Kara, I remember that I would, have the candles, do all the setting, have a massage table, and I would start like working on her body, her back, and I remember like just massaging her, and just infusing love into her body, really dropping into appreciation of her body. Kara's giving me 5 children, so I remember like having so much reverence and love for what her body had gone through to give me 5 children, and her womb and her yoni and her breast and everything, right? Just like really dropping into that feeling of love and gratitude, appreciation, and not saying many words at all. And I remember like Kara just sobbing and crying, and I understood at some level what was happening, but not the depth of what was happening, right? That she could feel that. She could feel my love, and she could feel my reverence and my gratitude, and at that point it was also very healing for her. Mm-hmm. And when I would do these practices, I wouldn't have sex with her. Well, I'm going to do this for you, and I'm not here to say, oh, I'm going to rub your back so that we can have sex, or I'm going to, facilitate for you because then I want to get mine. It was like that. I really clearly separated both. I know you're my wife, but I'm going to treat it as you're not my wife, and I'm here to be in full service to you, right? So don't even worry about me. Don't worry about what I'm doing. I am here for you, And that really changed the way I saw my interactions with Kara, right? Where I feel like, this is many years ago, and what happened is that women just started coming to me, and I started like facilitating women, and it's been beautiful. But I do feel now more than ever that a new body of work is coming, probably after this, where I'm going to teach men on this, right? Because I feel the importance of men understanding also, how it is to touch a woman without an ask, really how to infuse safety and love into her body, and the importance of that. And again, like I went on this phase of exploration many years ago, but not knowing where I was going to lead me, but it has definitely improved my relationship with myself, right? It feels amazing to give love unconditionally, to be a person that, can sit there in a very conscious way, put somebody else in front of me, right? That it's not just about all my desires, but that I have somebody else that has their own desires, and how can I dance with that person in a way where she gets what she needs, and I get what I win, and it's a win-win situation. And, our sex dynamic totally changed, right? Because now I was so focused on her and what her needs were, like I said, now Kara have gotten really good at like even her breath, guides me, Like even her body, like me immediately, I touch her body and I know where she's at. You know, I know what she needs. And then sometimes when I don't, I instead of forcing it, I take a step back, be like, okay, what does she need from me right now? And I tune into her body to be like, okay, she needs more safety right now. You know, how can I give her that safety? Or she needs, you know, tender love right now, or you know, or whatever. And for myself too. You know, I know. I think there was a few videos we did like a few weeks ago where you know I'm still learning. You know, I was in a different space and Kara came to me, you know, and I wanted to give her what she needed at that time, but I violated myself, right? And I'm like, oh, see, there's still for me, there's still I still have to get better at listening to myself, right? Because a little bit off topic, you know, but not really. It's like to learn to honor myself is to honor her. When I violate myself, I violate her, right? And again, this all that I'm talking about happened through the body. To really learn how do I feel about this. Maybe I can't rationalize it, I can understand it, but I can definitely know how I feel about it. And let that be my guide in how I move forward.
Yeah, I think that that's like a really important piece of this, right? Of like the temple arts and, right, like we're here to train the best of the best in these temple arts, and you must, like in like what you're saying here is like you must become sovereign, right? And that's the part of walking this path, is to return to your sovereignty in order to facilitate for others in this way. You have to be so fully integrated and so sovereign and you know, immovable, and that know who you are, and to understand and to be so clear in within your own body of what it's communicating to you and what your emotions are also communicating to you, because and there's so many aspects to this, but like also, you know, this work is deeply about sensation, right? Like being able to hold all of yourself it requires an immense capacity to hold a lot of different sensations, right? To be a facilitator in this work, it requires you to hold a lot of different sensations and emotions, the clients and your own. And like you said, to remove yourself from it, not make any of it be personal or mean anything about you, in order to facilitate this in a safe and healthy way that is being in what we call right relationship with your power, right? Because when someone surrenders themselves to you in this way, right, is what essentially like the dynamic that we're speaking to. And so there's many layers and facets to the temple arts, that you will be required to master. And of course, like we have an entry level point for everyone to like dip their toes into as they come onto this path. And before we ever even start teaching you like true temple work, there's a whole path of that first, right? Like that we have to walk first.
Well, we have a lot of people that are already been walking this path with us, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So there would be like perfect candidates to take to the next level. But like Kara was saying, that there's definitely, we're crafting because we understand like the power, the dynamic there are played in this. Like Kara was saying, you know, there's me as a practitioner, I have to feel worthy of giving this surrender, you know, feeling worthy of doing this work, right? Feeling worthy of being responsible for your safety, right? And that requires a lot for me to hold myself through that, right? And so it's not an easy path that you can just walk into a temple and say, well, here, I'm here to facilitate. You know, you got to have some really strong foundations that are in place.
Yeah.
And I know some of you guys have already been walking with us for a minute, so you know there's definitely people that are ready for this.
Yeah.
And there's some people that have to be developed into this, right? And
yeah.
and I say this because as we're sharing this in real time, we're creating a path for that. We're crafting a new way to guide people into this. Yes. For those that are called to do this kind of work.
Yeah. Well, and actually Dragoness is like one of the foundational programs that I run for this, and it's all online, and we're doing a lot of the energetic work first, and we're doing a lot of erotic alchemy, but we're just working with ourselves, right? In this program, it's for the individual self. reintegrating parts and healing many, many different parts, wounds, different things. But it's the foundation, and then you go deeper and deeper and deeper into your mastery, into your embodiment of the work. But Dragoness is getting ready to open soon, so hop on the wait list if you want to learn more about that. Because inside of this is like also part of our temple art path is working with these medicines, these very, you could call them like ancient shamanic medicines of the spider. I'm sorry, well, yes, the spider, but also the snake, the spider, and the bee, and how those three particular medicines represent the poison path. And that is an alchemical path that we navigate first personally and ourselves and master, and then we are going to facilitate and guide our clients through this path and with these various different medicines. And so it's like, and we've talked about some of these before, but it's like the spider is why do I keep saying spider? I am seeing a snake. The snake is like the seduction piece, right? And how we are seducing people in, and this is all for their liberation, right? This is all for the highest good of all, but we have to first bring these medicines out of shadow and into the light, and then we get them into our little web, our spider web, right? Where we're going to maybe move them here and move them there to help them get out of their own way and help them dismantle their own, illusions, their own like little webs that they have woven to keep themselves safe. And we're going to help them in this with our spider medicine brought out of, shadow into the light and into wholeness. And we help, navigate them in dismantling their own webs of illusion. And we help them create new webs of truth. And we take them ultimately to a death, or we're inviting them into a surrender so that they may receive their liberation. And this is like where the bee medicine comes in, right? Okay, now you get to have it all. You're going to have it. And in that process, walking that fine line of like sacred wealth and sacred receivership versus scarcity, fear-based, lack-based, gluttonous-based, gimme, take, right? And it's and so we walk them down that path of the sacred wealth with the bee medicine. So
there's so much more,
and that's just one layer.
There's so many psychological frameworks that are they live there.
Yes.
There's so many teachings,
So many teachings.
That at the end of the day, it just mirrors who you are. Again, it really takes you deep into exploring like your unconscious mind, to making sense of the world. You start recognizing like Kara was saying, the webs that you put out there, maybe your manipulation tactics, maybe your ask that you still have, maybe where you feel, and lack, and bring you into like, how do I get into a place of abundance? How do I merge the Madonna and the holy whore?
This is a whole other process.
Yes, like how do I heal from the mother wound, from the father wound? How do I integrate my feminine, masculine?
Yeah.
How do I receive the masculine? Just like it's a very rich program.
It is a very rich program, and it's the foundations that sets you up to continue on the Grail path and really deepen into the profound depth and magic of the temple arts that literally, I guess that really what I want is like transforms your life. It heals you in ways you didn't know you needed to be healed. It sets you free in ways that you didn't even know you were still imprisoned. And it helps you ultimately, like one of the most beautiful things for us is it's unguarded our hearts. It's opened us to receive more love than we even knew was possible, and a love that was and is truly unconditional for yourself first, which ultimately creates that safety within the body and that sovereignty, because you're healing attachment wounds in this journey. Like the temple arts are truly like the path, like I said in the very beginning, to the Holy Grail, to receiving yourself as the everything and all that you've ever desired. And it's wildly liberating. It's wildly like just the level of sensation and love and bliss and ecstasy, and being able to hold the dichotomy of everything, you know, even the more challenging and hard moments and of life and the bigger decisions, and to be able to confront and face your fears and become a truly, truly conscious creator of your life and your experience, in co-creating that alongside of the divine and with your partner, right? And it's so beautiful. It's so rich, and it's just so beautiful. And this is why we do this work.
It is truly the foundation. I know we talk a lot about sex and sexuality, but it is truly the foundation for everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is your root chakra, you know, it's your safety, is your eros, is your kundalini, is your ground, you know. It's like where you get to ground into the earth, you know, into your sovereignty. And it all starts there, you know, by clearing all of distortions, by reclaiming your power, by awakening your energy, you know, your creation energy, your manifestation energy, you know, your creative energy. Like, it all starts there. Like, if you carry massive shame around that, it's going to be extremely hard to navigate the world where you can have whatever you want. If you're still like feeling like shame around your desires, you know, then you're definitely gonna, you know, again, the world becomes a very challenging place. When you set yourself free from this, then you bring in the ease, the love, the abundance, like all of it, right? It becomes so much easier to create, to manifest, to bring in the life that you always wanted. So yes, we talk a lot about sex and sexuality because it all starts there.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all here because of it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where our power lies. You know, and then you connect the root chakra with the heart chakra and your womb and your sacral and your crown. Then you're talking a whole different, you know,
paradigm.
Paradigm, way of living.
Yeah, whole different way of living.
And so yes, so this is why we talk about this so much, right?
Yeah.
Because everything revolves around there. I guarantee you, like, whatever challenges you have, they go back to something that, you know, that something that happened to you, or some shame that you're carrying, or from a different life, or this life, or whatever. There's something that happened that has you feeling fearful, feeling unsafe in your body, feeling like unlack, feeling like you there's like never going to be possible. Like, all that extends from that root chakra, you know. And things that might even seem like they were nothing, there was something.
They were.
You know, and you know, this is from just experiencing, you know, be like, you know, I ask clients, so has there been any violations? No, not really. And then you dig a little more and they're like, well, yeah, this one time. And then you're like, well, and that one time you created a lot of stories of who you are. You know, there was a before and after, you know, maybe your innocence was taken from you. You know, maybe you went into hiding. Maybe you repressed your desires. You know, maybe, you know, though it became unsafe to be with a man, or, you know, or for men to with women. Maybe you were just made fun of for something that was seeming significant, but in that moment, the world became unsafe. So this is why, you know, I know that some people have shared this with us. You know, you guys talk a lot about sex and sexuality, and then they get it, but it still can be a little bit, I guess, like, I don't know, confronting or distorted or activating. And so I just wanted to share that.
Well, and I think, just to sum up what you said, is sex is how we remember. It's how we remember who we are. It's how we connect to the divine. It's how we remember that we are the divine embodied. And it's how we remember we are sovereign. And it's how we remember truly who we are and why we came here.
Yes, ma'am. You have any comments?
Yes, quite a few, actually.
Well, at least they're showing this time. I think a couple of weeks ago, we thought we didn't have any comments, then we got off and we had a bunch of comments.
Yeah.
Like, oh, shit.
Yeah. So, well, let's see. Amy was speaking to like, I think like the experiences that she has had in the temple and how it's so hard to describe. And she says, because it is an embodiment and a remembrance, and because this work is so ancient and it is so connected to the divine, it's beyond comprehension of our limited mind. It's beyond language, actually. There is not language fully, which is why often we have a hard time sharing specifically about the work that we do, is because there is not language for the experience that you will have. There is just only language for the results.
This is a felt experience.
Yes.
It's something that you have to experience to understand it. And again, like, and the reason why we have to do so many work behind it is because when you experience it, then you can make sense of it from a total different lens than, a lens that maybe is still a little distorted, or it's rooted in shame, or it's rooted in fear.
Yeah. Not everyone gets access to all of the behind the scenes, because also this work is so sacred, the most sacred work you could do. And it would be dishonoring. It would be dishonoring for us to share specific details. Yeah, it really would. Let's see. So I can't remember exactly what you were talking about, but Kate was like, this was my biggest lesson in my temple session with Edmundo. I think it was about the bodily safety piece, I think, and maybe the boundaries in communicating. And then, like when she commented that, and then Amy was like speaking to like, yes, how it does work. This work works. And she was making a lot of connections herself, she says. And then Alana was saying, as the practitioner, it is necessary to understand your own boundaries and capacity to hold others without judgment and only love energy, no matter what comes up for the patient or client.
Yeah, for me, I've questioned what kind of clients I could take. And that's been my guide to be like, okay, if I can't show up to a session without judgment, then I cannot be in session with that person. I can't facilitate for that person. And so for me, it's like extremely important to be like, okay, this is my demographic, and this is who I work with, and this is where I still can't work with because I still hold judgment, and I know that I couldn't be a service to them if I stepped into a container with them with that judgment. Of course, I'm still evolving and I'm still growing, and I'm not sure, certain demographics I will work with, but maybe I can't say no. Maybe in my evolution I will get there, but in this moment, like, I have to be very honest with myself, and I cannot show up to a session, any kind of session, where I have judgment. Yeah, and that's very, very true.
Yeah. And then Amy said, Dragoness is such a powerful space to be a part of. So much gratitude for the year of foundational work. Yeah. And, and Amy has been working with us for a really long time, and she's done years of Liberated Woman with me. She's done, I don't even know, probably Back to Center, my self-care program from like way back in the day. And then she even came from Canada to be initiated, and then still stepped into Dragoness after, and there was still just like so much more like deeper, beautiful work for her, as she's like been birthing her own, like creating her own healing center and bought land, and yeah, it's exciting. But yeah, just to show you, I think there's like a bit of even though she's done so much work and has so much knowledge. Amy's one of the most knowledgeable, like medicine women that I know. And even though she has all of these years of training and knowledge and all of this, like, she's still understood, and she's trauma informed, and she's like, done so many trainings, that she still had to come in and be the student and the novice and come in and do the foundational work for this next level, because it's this work, the temple arts work, is extremely, extraordinarily advanced level work. and it asks a lot of you.
I myself, like, I always look at everything from the lens of the student. Like, that is extremely important for me. I never want to get to the point where I'm like, oh, I know it all, or I'm done, or whatever. Like, so I'm constantly inviting myself to be the student over and over. And I actually love living in the shoes of the student, and I probably will forever.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then Amy also was speaking, I think as you were speaking of like the integration of the Madonna and the whore, she was like, because mothers are sexual beings.
Mm-hmm.
She is very powerful, are very passionate about that. Because that's also been stripped away from us in our culture of that, like once, you know, and it's just programming. It's like mothers are no longer sexual. And so this is a huge component of reintegrating this. And this is a core subconscious belief for men and for women that we all have to do this deep work on if we're going to walk this path. And then Amy says, yes, it only takes that one time. You were speaking to the violations, mm-hmm. and it is often hidden behind the protectors. And that's so true, right? Mm-hmm. So we do a lot of dismantling work in our temple work around de-armoring the protectors, and like again, this is like that heart de-armoring component. Yeah, where the places where we've been violated. And then, yeah, Amy says, always a student and always open to learning. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep. Yes.
So yeah, I guess there's a waitlist for Dragoness, but also too, we're having a dragon session next Friday, mm-hmm. here in Pacific, Missouri, and there's only one ticket left.
One ticket.
So if you're available next Friday and you want to come experience what we're talking about, this is like a very, very powerful session, but it is a little more of a entry point. You know, we're we're in the middle of crafting Dragon Session 2.0.
Level 2.
Level 2.
Yeah, and it may have a new name because we said we're dissolving everything, yeah. And letting it come back into form how it's asking. Well, no, yeah, I just wanted to just quickly like get on the list for Dragoness, especially if you've been seeing things about Dragon Session, but maybe you don't live locally or the weekend didn't work out for you, even if you are local. But you've been like following us and watching my work and you're like, ooh, there's something here for me. Get on the wait list for Dragoness. I've got a free online retreat gift available for you when you do that, around sacred receivership. And then you'll be the first to know when everything opens, like when the doors open for Dragoness and everything that entails. And I have a free event coming for you around that you're definitely going to want to attend. So just get on the wait list so that you know when everything starts to happen. Cause that's going to be coming pretty soon. And then Dragon Session, fire, change your life, next level. You want to activate your arrows. You want to feel your power. You want to embody your power. You want to experience it. You want to receive it. This is the energetic activation piece of this process and journey. So come closer, come down, come experience the temple, experience temple consciousness, and receive your holy erotic power. I promise you're going to love it. People's lives profoundly change after they experience this work and this activation and this is just like a taste. It's like a Dragon Session. It's just a taste. But it's a very profound, deep experience. And you're going to love, 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 love it. So come. What else you were going to say? You were going to add something else.
Oh, the Temescal schedule's up.
Yeah.
So if you been called to Svelach, it's also up, yes. And all the dates are there. So we would love to have you. That's also a very powerful experience. And also, too, I have my temple sessions. So, again, if you're ready to step into the temple arts, reach out to Kara or myself, and we can have a discovery call if you're not familiar with us. And if you are, you can just reach out to her or myself and see if it's a good fit for you.
Yes, it's his newly crafted threefold path. It's been selling like hotcakes. you definitely want to get in on this. It's 3 sessions and you go so deep. Again, like working on like utilizing your voice and honoring your boundaries and your yes and your no, and like healing the womb and the yoni, and opening and unguarding your heart and feeling safe and learning how to surrender. All of these things that are just going to, and learning how to receive what, and ask for what you want and accessing your desires. Like, this is life-changing work that no one ever taught us. And it's so important when you want to be a conscious creator and you want to have the life that you want to have. Yeah. And you want to feel really safe and yummy and delicious in it. Okay. I think that's it. We do have more. We do have another little secret offer coming very soon, but we're not ready to share just yet, but just taunting and teasing you just a little bit. We do have a wait list for that also. You can let us know. It's on my page. You can just comment me, and then when it opens, I'll let you know.
Or you can save the date, April 26th.
Yes, you can put a save the date for mystery event. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Good.
I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you again next week, 11 a.m. Central Time. Take care. Bye.